fallout we are between the president and his deputy. So for you, how do you execute differently and ensure we do not see this kind of bad blood drawn out?
I think even when people have differences, because it is not possible for human beings to always think alike. That's why even our constitution acknowledges diversity of opinion. It is imperative that all debates or disagreements or arguments on issues happen in-house, and what is brought to the public must be the result, the agreement on the positions. And I think I'm very well prepared, and I'll continue to pray and address my mind that, one, the overall leader is the president. I am the principal assistant. With that in mind, that I'm a delegate of the president and can be required to do any work to support the presidency and the administration, I'll be ready, and I am ready. I have served as a cabinet minister for 6.5 years. A cabinet minister is a delegate of the president. A deputy president is a first among equals within cabinet in being a delegate of the president. It's not a different position. We will be able to moderate any differences of opinion on any issues and to focus on serving Kenyans and to be respectful to Kenyans. Arguing in public, calling each other names in public is not only a disgrace, it's also not respecting Kenyans who elected and put us in office. Yeah. So I will be very conscious, and I've been commenting on the current situation, which does not commend itself to anyone.
Would you then, perhaps, going by the experience this country has gone through, in terms of the architecture of the Constitution, should we have a rethink, perhaps from an elective deputy president to an appointed one, so that if things do not work out for the sake of country, then the president has that latitude? 2 minutes.
Nothing wrong with the architecture of the Constitution, something wrong with our behavior. It is not that we need to amend to prescribe the relationship between the president and a deputy president. It is that we need to change our behavior, differ with respect, maintain deference for people who are above us, that even when you differ, the way you address them is in a way that tomorrow you can be able to once again sit and work together. And when it comes to my opponents saying that their manifesto or their plan was discussed by Kenyans, I want to remind Kenyans, Azimio was a product of a robust discussion, way ahead of anything our opponents have done. And my captain went around the country and he got Kenyans to express themselves, and that's how Azimio was born. That's how the agenda, the manifesto, was born. Consultative process as prescribed by the Constitution. We intend to continue with consultations, even in governance, because public participation is deeply embedded in the Constitution, which my principal and I fought so hard to put in place.
All right, Honorable Dad, is a question. Supposing this were to happen, we've seen before, and it's been part of our history, people call themselves brothers and friends, and then they have a fallout. Supposing this were to happen, would you think it would be possible and great for us to have the deputy president be an appointive position so that the president has the leeway, essentially, to fire you?
That is a hypothesis. I like to look at life from a positive perspective. I always look at a glass as half full, not half empty. I have no doubt in my mind that we are a formidable pair. We are a pair that has been brought together by a common convergence to serve the people of Kenya, to spearhead, chaperon, and implement the third liberation, that is the economic liberation for the people of Kenya. And what has brought us together is so important that no side shoes can come in between. The focus that is before us, the need to restore the dignity of the Kenyan people, is such an important aspect of our lives, of our leadership, that it is incomprehensible that we could think of having side shows and things that are necessary. And by the way, the situation between President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto has not been brought because of ideological differences. It has been brought because of inferiority complex.
Right.
People must allow strong leaders to prevail. And you shouldn't have a problem when your deputy is strong and sharp and focused. You should just be able to accommodate him and use that as a strength to serve the people of Kenya. Had President Uhuru Kenyatta, in a second term, allowed William Ruto to help him manage the affairs of this country, we will not be where we are today, where Kenyans have no food, where unga is at 250 shillings, that they have to run around to look for a package to try to deal with it to save this election on their part. If he had allowed Dr. William Ruto to help him like in the first term, all the stored projects will be going on. He should have used the strength of William Ruto and harness it and use it to augment his leadership and to strengthen it for the benefit of the people of Kenya.
However, Honorable Regarded, just quickly to follow up on that, we have seen Martha Karua in 2009, it was, resign after they disagreed with the president as a minister. You saw the former deputy governor Nairobi, when they could not work with the governor, again resign. So isn't it on principle that those who push for, if it doesn't work out?
I don't think it is honorable to be a quitter. I think you must fight from within and pursue what you intended to do. When the Nairobi deputy governor quit, he left a vacuum in Nairobi, and that allowed President Uhuru Kenyatta to bring the military into the city. You know, because if he was there, the mess in Nairobi will not be. You cannot be a quitter. You must fight on. My sister, Martha Karua, quit President Mwai Kibaki's government when Kibaki needed him, when Kibaki was in trouble, when Raila Odinga was making life impossible for him. Mwai Kibaki needed Martha Karua. And at a time when Martha Karua needed to assist Mwai Kibaki, she quit. Mwai Kibaki is and has been the gentleman of Kenyan's politics, an amiable man, a good man, a respectable man, a man who was listening to everybody. Any leader who could not work with Mwai Kibaki, I have serious doubt that leader can work with anybody else.
Just a quick reminder to the audience in the auditorium, we did agree to a set of rules. Silence, please. No laughing, cheering, jeering. Let's just follow the conversation to allow us to have civil engagement and for understanding and hearing every of the candidates as they articulate their thoughts.
Thank you very much, Ms. Karua. Response?
For those who do not understand principle, they can never envisage resigning. But I do think it is dishonest to continue to take public salary, to take the privilege and all that goes with office when you know you can no longer deliver, either because of differences or because of other things. I respectfully withdrew myself by resignation from Mwai Kibaki's government in a respectful manner, no name calling, such that we were able to continue when we meet to sit down and talk. I don't think the same can be said of Mr. Gachagua's principle. Entertaining disagreement outside government and publicly is disruptive. No wonder the government in which Mr. Gachagua's principle serves is unable to fight corruption because it's pulling in two different directions. That is why we have a paralysis today.
Honorable Karua, the question on just what happens if you disagree with your principle and if your principle should have the right to essentially let you go, should we relook at that?
I think the way the Constitution is, you disagree in-house, you resolve it. I do not think there is anything that cannot be resolved unless if it's something that is unconstitutional that is being demanded of me. I will remember my oath under the Constitution that there are things, if they are outrightly illegal, I certainly cannot be party to. But happily, my principle is a believer in the rule of law and constitutionalism. And he is also a man who views everything through the lens of social justice. That is why we have a dignity package for those who cannot afford meals on their table. That is why we have Babacare to rescue Kenyans from lack of access to medical services. If you look at our agenda, you will see that this is an agenda that talks of the socio-economic rights of Kenyans, an inclusive agenda that has every Kenyan, whether poor or rich, as demanded by our constitution. So I cannot stand here and honestly say that we shall have the same position on all things. That never happened, not even in Mwai Kibaki's government. But in 6.5 years which I served, I never publicly berated the government that I served or the president that I served. I just said my hands were tied and I withdrew. My principle differed with Mwai Kibaki, but all he said to the public is that I was not consulted. How they went back room and resolved, we never know. We only know they came out with a unanimous decision. That is what people who have respect for the public do. People who have respect for their offices do. But holding an office while not serving is dishonesty.
Honorable Gachagua, the same question, realized didn't respond the last time. Should this position of Deputy President be an appointive position?
No. In fact, the framers of the Constitution were very clear that the Deputy President needed to enjoy mandate directly from the people. Why Azimio cannot push William Ruto to resign is because William Ruto is not an appointee of President Uhuru Kenyatta. He is elected by the people of Kenya. If it was the previous constitution, William Ruto would have been sacked a long time ago under President Gideon Moi. And that was the plan. The plan was to provoke him, intimidate him, humiliate him, persecute him and his friends and his allies so that he could quit government and allow President Uhuru Kenyatta to appoint somebody from a family that they share the same issues and the same values. But because William Ruto was elected, he was able to hold on to his position. And he continued serving the people of Kenya when he was assigned duties by the president. The duty he has been allocated all the time without failure is to welcome the president and the Nyayo National Stadium. And he has done it in style because that is the duty he has been allocated. He has gone ahead to chair IBEC because that's what the president cannot deny. It is there in the PMF Act. There's nothing the president would have done. But the president chose not to allocate him duties. And the president has been crying that since he did not allocate him duties, his government has come to a halt. And nothing is going on. But he made a bet. He must lie on it. If you decide to chase your deputy away, a man who works hard, a man who knows what he's doing, and replace him with your friends, and then the country comes to a halt, you cannot go ahead crying that you have nobody to help you. He made that decision for his own reason. He wanted to push Ruto out, but Dr. Ruto stayed on because he enjoys a mandate from the people of Kenya.
All right, Honorable Gachagua, Honorable Karua, I want us to move to the next topic this evening, leadership and integrity, fitness to hold office. I will begin with you, Honorable Karua, and in 2013, when you vied for presidency, you said, I do not share any values with the Prime Minister, then Raila Odinga, nor do I share his politics. Both he and the late Kibaki have been unable to root out corruption within their ranks. What has changed now that you're deputizing him?
Indeed, the coalition government was unable to root out corruption in the second half. And I said so publicly many times. Raila Odinga was a presidential candidate in 2013. I too was a presidential candidate. My statement that they were unable to fight corruption did not indicate they are the ones individually perpetuating corruption. It meant there was corruption in government which they failed to act on. I believe that a combined ticket of Raila Odinga, Martha Karua will do the best to fight corruption. I resigned on principle because one of the things I felt let down on is the failure to tackle issues of graft. Raila was the Prime Minister, a co-principal, the late President Kibaki was the first among equals as the president. Whatever dynamics, I do not know of. But it is recalled that shortly after that election, I worked with Raila. Na Kenya and I were friends of NASA, not NASA, of CORD. And we worked together until 2017, when I decided to run for governor and supported Jubilee. We have been able to work together, have a history of working together in our 30 years of being in active politics, and I know that his policies align with mine. I did mention that we both view our actions through the lens of social justice, and that is what has drawn me to work with him.
Just a quick 1 minute, I will add you on your time that when you said I do not share any values, you've addressed the issue of corruption and graft, but you do not share any values and even agree on his brand of politics. What do you say to that? Because values, this is...
As of that time, I felt I did not share anything with him. And remember, we were candidates. There is no way you will praise the other candidate. But I can assure you that it is not because I thought he personally was responsible for any wrongdoing, nor did I feel that President Kibaki was personally responsible. But there were rogues with government they failed to act on. And I felt my hands were tied in the performance of my duties. And therefore, as I campaigned for myself, I actually was saying, look, you've been unable to fight corruption, just like the Jubilee administration under President Uhuru Kenyatta and Dr. William Ruto, and they are still in government together up to now. And we saw Dr. Ruto attending cabinet a week ago. They've been unable to fight corruption. You can't hold one side of government and say the good one is mine and the bad one belongs to the other person. That's doublespeak.
Honorable Gachagua, just
So here, I think Honorable Mother needs to come through to the people of Kenya on being consistent. Honorable Mother is on record saying that Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta should retire together. Not a long time ago. She seems to have changed her mind that they shouldn't retire together. In fact, that President Uhuru Kenyatta should continue governing through proxy, and Raila Odinga should purport to govern as a proxy of Uhuru Kenyatta. At what time did she change her mind? Because it's on record, she went public to say that the two of them should retire together. Now, she is the running mate of Raila Odinga. She is a project of Uhuru Kenyatta. The two people she said they should retire together, she seems to have changed her mind. And it is my considered opinion, and I believe for many Kenyans, that being consistent is very important in leadership, especially the position she aspires. You need to be consistent. When you say this today, you must be able to live to it tomorrow.
All right. I want to allow Martha to respond, but first I want to come back to you to give you another minute. A moment ago, you said that Gideon Moyo was supposed to be appointed. I want you to clear that up because, with all fairness, Gideon Moyo is not on this debate.
Well, President Uhuru Kenyatta, the chairman of Azimio, in a meeting in State House a week ago, that he nominated Mother Karua as his running mate to take care of his interests and that of his family. The president was on record, which means that Mother Karua is a project of the chairman of Azimio, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and they are both proxies with Raila Odinga. It is not me who said, it's President Uhuru Kenyatta who said. And previously I thought that Honorable Mother had been nominated as running mate by Raila Odinga. But here comes President Uhuru Kenyatta, outgoing president, chairman of Azimio, a man who has said he's going nowhere, he's going to be around. He will be ruling from home. He'll be consorting his project from home. He'll be continuing to govern the people of Kenya. I simply do not understand. Is Mother Karua, the honorable member, is she the deputy? Is she the running mate of Raila Odinga, the project, or is she the running mate of Uhuru Kenyatta, the project master?
Okay.
She is who's running mate?
Okay, Martha Karua is in the building.
It is true that both I and my captains are projects, but projects of the people of Kenya, whom my captain consulted, and by public demand, he was called upon to take leadership. At a time our country desperately needs leadership. He has offered leadership. and I was competitively selected, unlike my friend who was handpicked. I faced an interviewing panel and also through demands of Kenyans and many endorsements, I was selected. Kenyans know I'm competent, and I believe I'm competent for this job. I'm ready, able, and willing. I have consistently shown independence of mind, irrespective of whom I'm dealing with. I will handle this job independently and with commitment to Kenyans. And I know my principal also, who has been a teacher of politics to Mr. Gachagua's principal.
All right, Martha Karua, just a direct question to respond to Honorable Gachagua. What is the role of President Uhuru Kenyatta in Azimio?
The role of President Kenyatta, he is the chairman of the council, but my captain is the chairman, overall chairman of Azimio. Jubilee is just one out of the 26 political parties. I sit in the council as well, and President Kenyatta does not make decisions alone.
Will he have a role? Will he have a role after he finishes his term?
Sorry?
Will President Kenyatta have a role after he finishes his term?
His party will have a role, and if he continues to be, if he doesn't give his position in the council to any other member of his party, it would be a peripheral role as a member of the party. The incoming administration will be a Raila Odinga Azimio presidency, just like the current Jubilee government. Although Uhuru was a deputy president in the government of Mwai Kibaki, it was not a continuation of the Mwai Kibaki administration. It was an Uhuru Jubilee administration. Anybody who understands government would know that.
Honorable Gachagua, you have a minute to respond.
The truth of the matter is that the role of President Uhuru Kenyatta in Azimio is to craft his own succession, to continue governing Kenya through proxy, through Raila Odinga and Martha Karua. President Uhuru Kenyatta has already started assigning roles to Honorable Martha Karua, which means he is a leader, and in the unfortunate and unlikely event that they are elected to office, President Uhuru Kenyatta will continue governing this country outside his constitutional mandate, because there is a two-term limit that the president should retire. But the president does not intend to retire. You saw how angry he was, saying that people are asking him to go home and asking where he's going. It looks like he doesn't remember that when he sought to be president for 10 years, he knew what 10 years is all about. He cannot complain that people are asking him to go. Nobody is asking him to go. It's the Constitution. But he's trying to circumvent the Constitution to plant a proxy government, to continue governing from outside State House through Raila Odinga and Martha Karua, so that he can continue protecting state capture and conflict of interest. And Martha Karua has already been assigned that role. He was on record that she is the one. He has put there deliberately to protect his interests and that of his family.
All right, Martha Karua.
It is important to be truthful in this debate. President Kenyatta has not publicly or privately assigned me any role. I'm sure he knows that he cannot assign any role to a minister in an administration he does not have. The person who has assigned me a role as deputy and has declared the intention to appoint me as Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, apart from being Deputy President, is the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. My colleagues and his captain's beef with the President should not make them use this forum or use us as candidates to fight the President. We represent the aspirations of Kenyans, and yes, Kenya needs rescue, but rescue from corruption cartels, which my colleague may know more about.
On the 6th of June, Honorable Gachagua, during a Meet the People tour in your constituency, that's Madeira constituency, the people you represent there, you said that because you perceive the matter you're currently in court over to be a political witch hunt, if elected, you'd see to it that your accounts are unfrozen, build a mansion, and perhaps go ahead and throw a party in essence. Mr. Gachagua, isn't this tantamount to subversion of the cause of justice, an admission that you made in this sentiment?
To start with, I'd like to tell Honorable Mother we are not here to fight President Uhuru Kenyatta. We are holding him to account on his utterances. He has said he's going nowhere. He's on record. That's not fighting him. He has said he assigned Mother Karua the role to jail people. I don't know how she'll do it. She's not a judge. She's not a court of law. That is the work of courts of law, to jail people. It's President Uhuru Kenyatta who has said so. He has said that he has put her there to take care of interest. It's his own record. I don't want to respond to dignify ridiculous accusations by social media. Social media people assigned by the state have been following me wherever I go in the Republic, including my homes, to listen to what I say and twist it. I told the people of Madeira, they asked me a question. Mr. Gachagua, you bought a farm here and you have started building a house. What happened? Now that you are going to be deputy president, are you still going to live here? I told them I stopped building the house because the state froze my accounts to intimidate me and to blackmail me to support the handshake. And that money is frozen. And I cannot use it. That is why the construction of a house stopped in this area. When the due process takes place and the courts will deliver justice to regarding Gachagua one day, and my accounts are frozen, I assure the people of that area that I'll come and complete that house and live with them. And I'll take time to allow them to come and visit me. They asked me a secondary question. As deputy president, will you allow us to come and sit with you? I said, yes. I'm a junior elder in this community. I'll have time to sit with my fellow men over food, over a drink, and we share in the African way. I say the women in this area will come and sit with Mama Gachagua and have kesha, because my wife is a pastor and she likes doing kesha. And the women wanted to know, will they be allowed to come to the home of the deputy president to have kesha with Ms. Gachagua? I confirmed yes. I will be deputy president, but I'm still the same old guy who hangs around here. A very generous person who spends all his time with the people.
All right, Mr. Gachagua, you have a national audience. What is the source of the money that was frozen? Because that is the context.
Pardon?
What is the source of this money that was frozen?
I have said many times that I'm a victim of blackmail by President Uhuru Kenyatta, whom I served as personal assistant. President Uhuru Kenyatta wanted me to abandon William Ruto and join him in fighting him, and I said no, because he didn't give me a good reason. And he blackmailed me. He sent Nancy Gitawa, his advisor, to threaten me that if I don't abandon William Ruto and join him, I'll face the music from the state. And one problem started after another. They froze my accounts, KRI froze all my companies, then they arrested me on trumped-up charges for 1.5 years, no evidence in court, nothing. I'm a victim of blackmail and persecution by Uhuru Kenyatta, using the state criminal justice system to manage politics and deal with those who don't agree with him.
Honorable Gachagua, with all due respect, you not answered my question. What is the source of the money that...
The money that I have is well documented. I am an astute businessman. This is money that I made during the reign of Mwai Kibaki when the economy was thriving. I made over 200 million and invested in an account. And that account has been running for the last 8 years, and nobody has ever asked me a question. In 2013, when I supported Uhuru Kenyatta, I still had the money. In 2017, when I supported him, I still had the money in my personal account. This is money I have accounted for. It's clean money. I am a good businessman. And in the fullness of time, I'll be vindicated.
Karua?
I was really hoping that my colleague would explain to us how an individual finds 5 billion shillings in their accounts. But I hope one day Kenyans will be able to know money that was transferred to his accounts in the last 10 years of the Jubilee administration. But that's for him to account. I believe as leaders, we have to be accountable. That is why there's declaration of wealth, so that as you enter office, people can know how much you are worth, and as you exit, or in the middle, they can monitor and see how you are progressing, whether it is from your salary, and if it's from business, it has to be a business that can be ascertained. I think we really need to come clean, because if you cannot account for your wealth, you cannot be a good steward of the money of the people of Kenya.
So this is a question to both of you. You've brought up the subject of wealth declaration.
Yeah.
What are you worth, Honorable Karua?
I think about just about 150 million, and that is because the 56 million I had declared in 2013 has appreciated because of the inflation. I haven't had any new properties, but I'm a person many may not understand. I'm not thirsty for land. I'm not thirsty for worldly goods. I'm happy to have a house I call home. I'm happy to have a house in my father's land. I do not look for property. Not everybody is hungry to amass. I'm hungry to do something to help my country, to transform the lives of the people.
Right.
So if you're looking for Martha Karua to be a billionaire, no, I am not hungry for billions.
Honorable Gachagua,
My
how much
account
are
did
you worth?
not receive 5 billion. That is propaganda. I have 200 million. That is the money that is held. 200 million, 64 million. I worked with the Ministry of Lands and Settlement. 10 million, I worked with Kenya Power. 33 million, I worked with the Ministry of Livestock. Another 46 million, I worked in another organization called Patek. Up to 200 million, that is all the money. But when you set policemen to investigate, they don't understand accounts. When you save money in a fixed deposit, it leaves your personal account into a suspense account. A normal policeman looking at it, movement in